All right. So the Anxiety Chronicles, day one. Um, I decided that I was going to start making videos about my anxiety purely for documentation because I've been an anxious person my whole life. With health anxiety mostly, I imagine that I have diseases, um, or I'm afraid of having diseases. And to the point where I've spent most of my life bouncing from one disease to another. Um, my family, my family gets a good laugh out of this, and sometimes looking back, I laugh myself at things that I've imagined, but it's also not funny at the same time. It's exhausting and it's awful, honestly, because depending on what you've given yourself, you can you can ruin your life, really, really disrupt your life, depending, like I said, on what disease you've imagined that you have. So it started when I was really six-ish, five, maybe even five. I don't know. I was in first grade, and um, I convinced myself that I couldn't swallow food anymore, or I was going to choke on it, and I stopped. I stopped eating unless I was forced to eat by my parents. Um, and I love food. I really do. So that was kind of weird. My parents, ultimately I get over it. It's a long story, but I get over it. I moved on to something else, breast cancer, when I was 9. It might have even started at 8 or 9. I was really young. And I imagined I had breast cancer because I didn't understand what breast tissue was and that it's not smooth and it's lumpy. And, I imagined that these things that were in my boobs were cancerous tumors and I was going to die at any minute. And I tortured myself with this for years. Years. 3 maybe more. At least 3 years. And, I didn't understand how it worked. But I did imagine it, and I did convince myself, and I really, really let it control my life. It consumed me. And eventually I moved on from that once I realized that I had breast tissue and not breast tumors. And so over the years I've imagined different cancers, different tumors, brain tumors, aneurysms. That's one that sticks with me, brain aneurysms, or aneurysm anywhere really. And so that's been me. That's what I do, and there's breaks in between. Sometimes I have good years or a good year. Sometimes I have bad years, months, weeks, whatever. So basically now my anxiety has returned. Let me start here. When I was 16, I had started feeling weird, what I know now to be palpitations. I started hormonal birth control, and shortly after I started having heart palpitations, which at first I didn't even know it was my heart. It felt like my stomach or whatever. I didn't even know. And eventually, I can't really remember how, but it, ultimately spiraled into just panic attacks. And I think that was partly due to hormones, the hormonal birth control. I don't know, but I started having panic attacks, and it just got out of control. Eventually, I got off of it after maybe 4, 5, 6 months. I got off of hormonal birth control, and whatever. I tried telling them, I'm like, listen, I'm an absolute crazy person on this. I'm having panic attacks and having palpitations, and they're like, oh no, that's not even possible. Whatever. So anyway, I got off of it, but that stuff never went away. I never knew what a panic attack was until then, and once you know what a panic attack is, and maybe if you're someone like me, you obsess, you think about it, and you really don't ever come back from, I never really recovered from it. I am sort of fear driven in the sense of like I make a lot of decisions based on fear about things, about panic, about palpitations. And that's currently where I'm at now. I did this a decade ago. I'm doing it again. My anxiety causes me to have PVCs, PACs. I'm at less than 1% of total heartbeats, so it's pretty minor. It's really minor, actually. But nevertheless, they are there, and I am an anxious friggin' person, and I am freaking out. That's what I do. So that's why I started this, because I want to look back and call myself out of my own shit, you know, eventually. In the future, when I start doing this again, or I'm freaking out about something, I want to look back and say, look, see what you did here? You're doing it again. Stop it. Knock it off. And I'm hoping that helps. I think it will. And honestly, like I said, if I could recall what happened to me a decade ago, I might be much less shitty about this. I might not. It might be less dreadful. But the point is I'm starting now. I want some record of this. I think I said that 5 times now, and it's weird. I don't really. It's a sort of a weird thing for me because I'm a pretty private person. I like to keep my anxiety hidden. A lot of people wouldn't even know it about me, unless you're my family and you've witnessed my many, many episodes, or are a very close friend, and you know. But so it's weird for me to have anyone know about it. But at the same time, with my anxiety, having health anxiety is sort of a specific thing as far as fears. Like, for example, my current situation, my anxiety about my heart and my health causes me to have anxiety, panic attacks, and I start to fear situations in which I might have a arrhythmia or some sort of PVC, PAC episode, and so that interferes with my life. It's not just, you know what I mean? It's like I'm afraid to get on the highway sometimes because I'm worried that I might have an issue. I never have, but I mean, this whole thing is pretty irrational, isn't it? That's the whole point. My point is that with my anxiety, it feels a little bit specific in the sense that I have the PVCs, the PACs. Not everyone does. We all have different symptoms. Some people have, chest pain and all that stuff. I don't have chest pain. I just have, with my panic attacks, really, really high heart rate, really high, and, tension in my chest and my stomach. I feel like I can't breathe. I sometimes get a lump in my throat, and I shake. I really shake a lot. So everyone's different, and so when I was looking things up, trying to relate to people, because it just helps me see people go through things that you go through. It just helps to know you're not alone in things. And so when I was looking this stuff up, it's not that common, or at least it's not out there that common, that people with their health anxiety are also experience the irregular heartbeats. And so I don't know, I thought maybe this would be relatable for some people. I have no idea, but therapy is expensive. It is, I go, but it's expensive, and this is therapeutic for me to hear or talk about my issues or the issues of others. So there we go. I don't want this to be too long, so I've left out a ton of stuff, I know that, but this is just day 1, and I'm starting and facing my shit, calling myself out, taking a good hard look in the mirror and saying, knock it off, So, let's see how it goes. I'm going to have good days, I'm going to have bad days. Today's a good day. Monday was a bad day. What are you going to do? I don't know. I'm going to figure it out, because life is sucky right now. I'm scared. I'm scared of a lot of things. And I don't want to be. And I'm missing out on things. And that needs to change. And the only way to beat anxiety is to face it, really. You have to go through it. You know? You just gotta. Otherwise, you'll turn into a hermit. I've done it. I swear to God, I've done it. I've sat in the house for months, afraid to leave. You know, I was thinking about the Hey Arnold episode, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, where Stoop Kid was afraid to leave his stoop. You know, that shit's real. I never realized it at the time, but it's legit. Stoop Kid was afraid to leave his stoop. Stoop Kid, I know what you feeling. I feel it too. So yeah, here we go. Journey's beginning. Okay, bye.